message at a time. So tap in, elevate, align. Class is in session. I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna have it before next week. Class is in session. Great morning. Great morning. Great morning. Great people. How are y'all doing? Happy Friday. Happy Friday. Happy Friday. How y'all feeling in this thing? I hope y'all are feeling well. I hope you're feeling good. I'm be so mad if that intro didn't record. I got to say it again, but I had said it good. Welcome to Spirit You, y'all. Spirit You Fridays. Come on, 111. That number. Ooh, we finna talk about it though. See, that's just a confirmation. Yep, because that's 2 times I done seen it in less than 30 minutes. Great morning, y'all. How y'all feeling? You know what to do, Ski Booski. Come in, like the live, share the love. Drop something in the chat that you're grateful for this morning. Let's get in the flow of abundance. Let me turn y'all up so I can see y'all's comments. Or let's do it. Let's get to it. Great morning, Pam. Great morning, honey Wani. Y'all, I got some stuff to told y'all this morning, and of course we gonna be finishing up. No, we not. I told y'all a story. I told y'all a non-truth, and I'm just gonna say my bad, my bad. We will not be finishing Genesis 3 today. Okay, we got a lot left to do in Genesis 3. I went to looking at them notes this morning. I say, child, what I thought? Thank you, Larry Tucker, for liking the live. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Y'all, we ain't gonna finish Genesis 3 today. We not. I don't know how many days we gonna be here, but we ain't gonna be finished today because it's still a lot that we have to go through for this. I do know what the focus is, though. Um, Let me just tell somebody this. Listen at me. Uh, I want to say this, y'all. If you are tracking with where we are in Genesis 3, right? I've said this before and I'll continue to say it. You will find that a lot of times you are walking out the word. There are certain things, look, my mouth, y'all, I be getting this thing when I start giving these messages. Does anybody else have this happen? I be having this thing happen, y'all, where my mouth, like my lips will get really, really hot. Has anybody else had that before? Like my lips will get hot, y'all. I don't know. I didn't told y'all. I think I didn't told y'all that before, but my lips get so hot and it be so weird. Hey, little honey one, you got to be careful. Child, where you was going? He said he was gonna find he was minding his business. I don't know anyway, y'all. That be happening to me where like my lips be getting really hot. It be weird. Hold on, let me try to get my camera in order, Lord. Okay, I think that's better. Anyway, I'm back. So we're not gonna be finishing Genesis 3. We're gonna be finished. We're gonna get, but I do know what the Lord is gonna be talking about. And it's gonna have a lot to do with faith, y'all. He highlighted a specific part of my notes, and then I've literally seen the number 111 2 times, like in the last 30 minutes. So we're gonna be dealing a lot with faith this morning, as part of what we're going to be focusing in on Genesis 3 this morning. So, or let's do it. Let's get to it. Y'all got y'all favorite adult beverage. Shout out to my people on the IG side of the street. Shout out to the people on the YT side of the street. Shout out to my TikTok people. Them checking in. Great morning. How are y'all feeling? Are y'all ready for Friday? Y'all gonna have a good weekend in purpose and on purpose. Um, of course, we got some announcements. We'll get to that in just a little bit. Good morning, Chris Curls. Good morning. Pamela says, great morning to Shay and the community. And Chris Curls says, happy Friday, y'all. Grateful to rise this morning and finish out this week with goodness. Okay. True story, y'all. It's been a push. And many of us, we having to push through some things. You feel like, I don't know, maybe it's just me been feeling a little weary, a little tired, not really as inspired and motivated, not in all things, but in some things. So be very mindful of that. We gonna touch on it today because the Lord brought it to my attentions this morning. Hey, ma, to my attention this morning, kind of like we gotta push, y'all. Like we gotta push. Many of us are giving birth to new things. Many of us are there's new things that the Lord is asking us to do. And so we're gonna have to push. You're gonna have to push through. And for many of us, end one thing so that you can step into the next new thing. Does that make sense? So we're gonna talk about it though, because it's in the notes. Good morning, James Carter. Good morning. So we're going to talk about that because the Lord he gave me some instructions this morning, and he had a couple of things that I'm gonna share. I'm gonna finish up. First of all, I'm gonna finish up telling y'all. Remember, I told you I was gonna give y'all the confirmationals. I was gonna give y'all the confirmationals about how the Lord confirmed for me yesterday what we was talking about. And so I went and did the study for it just to make sure that I had all the information. And so some of you may be seeing this number as well. Child, talking about weary is the word. Girl, you better say it, child. Weary is the word, y'all. Um, Even for me, because one thing I'm gonna do is be completely transparent with y'all, right? It has been, I literally just had to take some time and just this week, I have done nothing but spend time with the Lord. And I needed it because I felt myself like just growing weary. And so, true story, y'all, I backed up from everything and I haven't done anything but this. Come on here and give these messages and then just spend time with the Lord. Um, and so it was like I needed to be refreshed, I needed to be renewed. And I told the Lord that. And so he was like, I know you're tired. I know you're weary, but you got to get back to it. So I have taken some downtime because I'm not afraid to take time. I am not afraid to say, listen, I need some time with the Lord, especially because I feel like I kind of had to set the foundation for this. And so I took the time that I needed. And then now next week I'm getting back to it. I got to finish strong. Drop this in the chat like we're going to finish strong, okay? And so understand that many of us, this ain't even a regular tired. Pam said, yes, very weary, very drained. I'm grateful for the strength of the Lord to keep going, right? Because I've had to call on him for real, and I'm sure y'all have as well, because it just fit, especially when you're in a transition point. You may be ending one thing, starting something new. You're gonna feel that weariness, y'all. And this could be like a spiritual weariness. This could be like, man, I just don't think I can do this. And this is also going to speak to our faith about what the Lord has called us to, what the Lord has told us we're responsible for. So we're gonna cover a lot of that today in spirit in Genesis 3, because I feel like many of us are going through this, because it's just like I just am so tired. Like I was so tired. Um and then as a result of that, then you get weary, you get tired, then you get unmotivated, then your faith start wavering. So let's do it. Let's get to it. Y'all like to lie, share love. Y'all got y'all favorite adult beverage. Y'all know I'm on. Okay. Look, I had my daughter laughing because I was trying to tell her about these drinks I be drinking from Aldi. Shout out Aldi. I be drinking from Aldi, right? And so she was like, so I was like, yeah, child, because they responded on my IG and everything. um, so they responded on my IG, and so she was laughing because I was like, baby, listen, look, I am your professor in spirit. Touche Jermaine. Welcome if you are new. Hey, Miss Stingray, dearest one. Hello, Sierra. Good morning. Great morning. I'm here. I'm here. Y'all ready? Good morning, Rabbi Ken. Y'all drop this in the chat. Y'all ready? Are you in or out? What you say, Lord? Are you in or are you out? He named that this, and he gave me something very specific when I was in Bible study and prayer this morning, because it's one of those things. He's like, are you in or out? And this is why I know that many of us are weary, because the Lord is giving us new assignments. The Lord, good morning, Miss Patina. Good morning, honey. The Lord is giving us new assignments. He's giving us new things to do. Yes, thank you, dearest one, for sharing the live. Y'all like the live, share the love. Drop something in the chat that you're grateful for. And also, are you in or out? Right? So, as we're going into Genesis 3, remember where we're at, y'all. We are at the fall of man. So this is if you understand what the Lord is doing, he's giving us a fresh start, he's giving us a new beginning. But we also see where the enemy is now coming in and getting ready to tempt us, right? Try to sow a seed of doubt. We're literally walking out the word. So as we're reading the Bible, see yourself. I know we're reading a story, but we are actually the characters in the Bible many times. Not all of them, although we have characteristics of many of them. We are these characters, y'all. So the Lord attempts to show us ourselves through the characters in the Bible. And a lot of times, if you can kind of, what's the word? Like if you can kind of reconcile that you have, like he will, you can see yourself in the different characters that we're gonna be reading about. So we're at a point where the Lord has given us something brand new. He's given us something to tend to. He's given us our assignment. He's given us our work. And now here come the enemy trying to make you doubt your work. Here he comes trying to sow a seed of doubt, trying to make you think that the enemy is, I mean, that the Lord is not going to do what he said he's going to do. Immediately, he's trying to make you question what God has already promised, what God has already said. And that's where we are. So this is what we still talking about in Genesis 3. All to do it. Here we go. Remember what God commanded. So he said, so now we're still talking about the enemy coming up, right? You shall not lie, you shall not take his name in vain. All of these things that the Lord said, like, listen, don't do this, don't eat from this tree. And it was Eve's weakness to enter into converse with the serpent. So I was reading through some of the y'all. Oh, side note. Oh, I'll talk about that in a minute. I was reading through some of the commentaries and just different places and just doing research. And I said this yesterday because this what the Lord had told me that the enemy, like Adam and Eve had angels and animals to talk to in the garden, and different places that you see, um, or different places that you may look don't really say that. But I also understand that how could Eve be deceived? How could she know what an offense is or is not if they hadn't yet been exposed to the knowledge of good and evil? So even if you are doing studies, even if you're listening to other people and doing commentaries, there's some things that this is why the Lord will tell you you have to ask him for clarity, like for clarification, okay? Clarification. Because if you don't, it's like one of the things he showed me yesterday is that in different people studying the Bible and different people that we're learning from, they don't have all the truth. You have to get your own truth from the Lord. So I hope that made sense. So it was like curiosity. How was she, because even somewhere I read yesterday, it was like, well, why didn't Eve say, well, get thee behind me, Satan? Because up until they ate from the tree, how does she even know? She didn't know what evil was, right? So I hope that made sense. Um, because she didn't realize that she was in harm's way, because up until this point she was still that, like, everything was perfect for them. There was none of this. They had no idea what even being deceived was. And so for her, because I have notes here, and this is something again the Lord revealed to me. He revealed it yesterday. Those that would be kept from harm must keep out of harm's way. But she had how would she have any idea that she was in harm's way, right? So the enemy attempted to make her feel a lack of freedom, to make her feel or recognize a limitation by God's command, to make her aware that although God had given them what was good, he denied them what was the greatest and best fruit in the garden, but made it available for them to look at. So basically, he trying to come in and say, yeah, he said y'all can have everything but that. And the one thing he told y'all you can't have, that's the best thing. But that's how the Lord, I mean, that's how the enemy try to wrap up sin, right? By trying to make you think it's better than what God said, it's better than what you already have. And that's where a lot of times we get messed up. And this is the part that the Lord said is going to be important on this for today. Wavering faith and belief and wavering resolutions give advantage to the tempter. Wavering faith and belief and wavering resolutions give advantage to the tempter. Why? Because if at any point the enemy can make your faith because start wavering, make you stop believing, make it sow a seed of doubt, then that's when he's going to try to come in and basically pounce. He is going, if he knows it, in any way that your faith is wavering, Is it that your faith is wavering, or that there's something you believe but you don't believe, you think so. And this is where the Lord is, because this is where the Lord will start being like, he said, he was like, are you in or you out? Do you believe me or do you not? It's because one thing that I know for certain is that as soon as he know that you there's just a little bit of doubt, here he come, he's gonna add to what you're already worried about. Does that make sense? So if you keep on, if he knows that now you like, well, I think the Lord is going, I think he gonna do it. Like, I think so, Lord. But then you still have that doubt. He gonna be like, wait a minute, let me push that. Let me push on it. Let me increase this doubt. Let me do something. Let me influence in some kind of way to increase the doubt that now he has sown. Because one thing for certain, two things for sure, if God said it, then he meant it. We and if you because that and again, y'all, this is us going into the Bible with the understanding that this is what God said. This why we have creation at the beginning. He tells us exactly what it is, and then he shows us exactly how it goes wrong, if that makes sense. So our wavering faith and our wavering resolutions are what give the enemy access. And we said this yesterday, access denied. He made her question the certainty of God's command. So he's like, if I can make her question it, then I can influence her to go against it, which is always what he's trying to do. He attempts to shake what he cannot overthrow, trying to dissuade God's truth that it is falsehood, because he's a liar, because we know the devil is a liar. He has been from the beginning of time. He wants us to doubt, but if he cannot get us to doubt, then or he first wants to get us to doubt, then he wants us to get to deny, right? Um, wait a minute, sir. Y'all hold on. We're not gonna do that. Okay, I'm back. Hold on, Lord. So he first wants to get us to doubt, and then he wants us to deny. He wants us to because if he again, y'all, one of the things that he does is the enemy for Adam and Eve's case, they fell all of a sudden. But that don't be the way it goes with us, y'all. The enemy lays a trap. He lays a foundation. So for us, he kind of builds upon the doubt. He builds upon it, and he makes us step into it even more, even more. He lays a trap for us. And every time we start doubting and questioning what God has told us, the certainty of it, for many of us, the Lord has given us a vision. He has told us something. And a lot of times, the first thing that, like, the enemy is trying to make you doubt that it's ever going to come to pass, that the Lord is going to do what he said he's going to do. And I am with this. I am here for this. I am here to tell y'all that the enemy will try to make you doubt something that the Lord told you that you're supposed to do. Just this morning in prayer, like I've been talking a lot. I've been talking to even this morning, just in prayer, talking to the Lord about different things. And he made me understand that many of you, the Lord is giving you something. And he wants me to tell this in the respect of, look at your life right now where you are. The Lord has put you on a path, or either he's trying to, right? And he wants you to see. And sometimes I think we don't do this because we be so stuck on the trouble. We'll be so stuck on the trials. We'll be so stuck on the difficulties that we don't actually see how the things that he has been. Let's not focus on the trials and the tribulations and the difficulties, but let's just focus on the positives. And I know, and we don't do this enough. And I think this is one of the things that the Lord is like, one of the problems is we be focused on the negative stuff and not the positives. So if, let's say, the Lord has given you a vision, right? He has told you something, or you have prayed about something. And can you just look back on your life and see how let's just use like the last 1 to 2 years, how things you can look and see how it's leading you somewhere. And that's what the Lord showed me today. He was like, y'all, we be so focused on all the things that were difficult or that like hard to overcome. But can you see where he actually, like, if you just look at the things that you've experienced in your life, especially over the past 2 years, don't really go back further than that, right? If you just look at the last 2 years, and let's say the Lord set you, and even if you don't even know exactly where you're going, the things that you can start to see where the Lord is taking you somewhere, experiences that you've had, people that you've met, door rooms that he's put you in, places that you've been. It's like he's trying to set us up. And oftentimes, because it doesn't look the way we thought it was going to look, that's how we start doubting it and being like, man, yeah, look, Sierra said lessons we finally learned too. Like, I said this because the Lord just had me to sit for a second, and he was like, I want you to look back on what has happened for you in the last 2 years. And I took a moment and I just sat and I was just like, and I started just thinking about things where, different places where he had me, different experiences. I'm not counting the things that I thought of as negative. I just started looking at, things he allowed me to see, and just places where I've been, people I've connected with. He was like, "Do you not see that I'm leading you somewhere? I'm taking you somewhere." But it's like a lot of times we'll be in the middle of being in the purpose and in our assignment, and then we'll start questioning, and the Lord is like, I need you to see, I need you to some this is why we have to reflect sometimes and be like, okay, Lord, I can see the things that I can see. I can see. And then for some of you, maybe that will be helpful in kind of helping you know, okay, Lord, which way are you leading me? You're not going to know every step. Let me just be perfectly clear. You are not going to know every step, but you can look back and see how you'll be like, okay. And so I want y'all maybe this weekend to just kind of take some time and do that, right? Where you just sit and be like, okay, Lord, I can see how this is adding up because he's trying to lead us somewhere. I hope that makes sense. Okay. So we talked about that. Satan teaches men first to doubt, then to deny. And if he can't get you to stop believing, he can encourage you further rebel. First, he wants to make us skeptics, then he wants to make us atheists. Okay. First, he wants to make us doubt, then he wants to make us deny. And so he called God a liar, and he attempted to convince Eve of the same. He tried one tactic. So here the next thing. One thing certain, two things show: the enemy don't have a new playbook. He got the same playbook. Now, what happens for many of us is as you grow and you elevate, you advance, you may see him running different plays. But he doesn't the playbook doesn't change. But as you there are certain things that remember this, there are certain things that in the beginning he wasn't using those attacks. He might have been using little simple attacks. He might have been coming in through the front door and just being blatant about the things that he's doing, right? But as you grow and elevate and expand and move forward, then he's going to do things. Then he gonna get a little bit more subtle because you ain't gonna fall for that same okey doke. You ain't gonna have to. There's some lessons like Sierra just said that you finally learn. You ain't gonna repeat them. You won't get me like that. What you say? You ain't gonna get me like that. So what does he do? He switches up the tactic. And so for many of us, the Lord says that is what he's doing. He's switching up his tactic. If he knows that you're not is and he did this with Eve. So again, y'all, there's nothing new under the sun. So if he tried one thing and it didn't work, he's gonna regroup. He gonna be like, okay, they hip to that. Hold on, let me try something else. So think it not strange when you start receiving like things start happening that you ain't never dealt with before because you haven't. So the Lord will expose the tactics. He will show us what's happening, but so that you can be aware of it because you haven't experienced some of these things before because you weren't at a level for the enemy to attack you in this way. If you've always been strong in prayer, then that's not something he's gonna be like, oh, well, he's not gonna do that. He's gonna find another way to slide himself in, right? I hope that makes sense. I know that sounded kind of bad, but I said what I said. He tried one tactic, which was for Eve, calling the precept into question. That didn't work because Eve actually adhered to it. She may not have recited it the way she should have, but she still believed it. Um, Then he tries something different. When he notices what works, where he sees your faith and trust in God waver, message, he presses in on that. It's like a wound. If the enemy knows what hurts, he gonna keep his finger on it. He gonna keep pushing, y'all. He gonna keep pushing it. If he knows it is your family, then guess what? He gonna be coming up against your family, your children. Maybe it's just me. You ever been feel like everything going like fairly decent for you, like you doing everything you supposed to do, everything rocking out, and then all of a sudden everybody in your life around you's in chaos? Because he's trying to shake, because he knows that he can't shake you. Things will start happening in your family with your children. You'll be like, what is going on? You'll feel like you're just surrounded by chaos. This has happened for me many a times, because he knows for many of us, our families, and when things start happening in your family, that it's going to make you feel some type of way, and it's simply a distraction. And sometimes your family on their own faith walk or spiritual journey with the Lord, and sometimes they not. Sometimes it's hard to explain to people that the reason that the enemy, and then, because I've had this happen where it's hard to explain to people, like, listen, this is really, like, not to say that they ain't got to deal with their own stuff, but if you know that sometimes the reason they're going through something is because the enemy can't get to you, so he's gonna use the people that are closest to you. And if he knows that it's something where you're wavering, where you're not solid, he's going to press in on that. When you're stressing, like, and the Lord gave these examples, when you're stressing about money, instead of believing in God's provision, he attacks your mind about money. He makes you start worrying. He makes you start stressing about, Lord, are you gonna do it, or how you gonna do it, or when it's gonna come, Lord? I'm at the end of my rope. As soon as he knows, like, oh, they don't believe that, let me press in on it. If you're stressing about your safety, then he's going to make you more paranoid. This is the examples the Lord gave. Whatever he knows to work, whatever he knows works, he uses until it doesn't work anymore. And then he attacks the wall where it is the weakest. This is also why the Lord said there's strength in numbers. Because if you're by yourself, then you're going to, good morning, dearest one, good morning, lovely. Then if you're by yourself, then you would be the weakest link. Does that make sense? He wanted man to suffer because his own disobedience had cost him. He spoke from experience of being high and falling low. But because of what he had done, there was no returning. He had cursed himself. And we're going to be talking more about curses coming up. But man, I can't even tell it. Can I just tell y'all that curses are real? That's all I can say. Now it's oh yeah, okay. Can I talk? Okay, I got to pause and give a side note. Um oh, I can talk about it right here. So y'all, we not here yet, but can we take a quick intermission, because we're talking about Satan talking through the serpent, right? So yesterday I was in Bible study and the Lord gave me something, and it's kind of tripping me out, but I'm gonna share it with y'all, and we're gonna come back to it as well. And this may be, look, if you new to Spirit You, welcome. We are so happy and so grateful that you are here. And this may seem like an off kind of, but since we're talking about curses, this may seem like a little off topic, but we gonna talk about it anyway. Remember yesterday we were talking about, like, was it yesterday we were talking about, like, demons and demonic activity and stuff like that. So, and now here we're talking about how he because Satan was cursed, right? So y'all, the Lord told me something yesterday, and I don't know, I'm gonna see what y'all think about it. So let me get to the page. And again, we'll touch on this again when we get to Genesis 5, because this is my Genesis 5 notes. But as I was in Bible study yesterday, one of the things the Lord was talking about, he started talking to me about demonic activity and possession. Okay. And I'm going to just read y'all what he said, because I want to know if anybody else can understand, or anybody else agrees with this, or I don't think I'm tripping, but look. So here it is. So we talking about the snake, the enemy, Satan. Basically, he possessed this dragon creature, whatever it is. Good morning, Cherie. Um, so there was this so he had so there was this so he didn't so basically Satan has come into this creature, right? And so I start thinking about it and I'm like, well, Lord, how is it that Satan was able to enter into this creature? Like what like how was that possible? And so as the Lord, and so I'm, but now at this point, not even the creature, but at this point, I'm reading about like Cain and Abel, and I'm reading a little further down. So the Lord starts talking to me about demonic activity and like being possessed, because we hear about this in the Bible, and it really started with the fact of let me just go ahead and say this. Let me just go and say it in the Bible, if you do not read the book of Enoch, you will not quite understand when it starts talking about the people Nim started having, the women started having children, but the children were giants. And I was like, because it won't make sense to you. Okay, it won't. If you don't read the book of Enoch, you will kind of miss how they started having the Nephilim. That's what they're called, the Nephilim, right? And so I was like, well, Lord, how did that happen? So basically, he starts telling me that the angels that were fallen were mad because one of the things when they were in living in the spirituals, they didn't have the access to be able, or they weren't able to procreate. They weren't able to have children, right? So then I said, well, how did they end up getting inside of the people? And he said that Satan, one of the things that Satan did, one of the ways that he rebelled was he showed them how, as in sorcery, with sorcery, he showed them how to possess men of the earth. And that was the first evidence of demonic possession. Does that make sense? I know I was kind of scattered with it because I'm trying to give the backstory of how me and the Lord started talking about it. But Satan actually shows us the first evidence of demonic possession when he steps into, or he takes over, or he puts his spirit into the serpent. And I was like, to me, it blew my mind, right? It blew my mind because I was like, wow, Lord, like I had never thought about this before. So then as I'm reading through this, the Lord starts talking about, because what he ended up doing with the people, that like he removes his spirit from them. And so and where's the scripture? He took me to scripture, Matthew 12 and 43 through 45, where it talks about how the Lord, like, it'll talk about like a spirit. Let me just read it. It talks about, and I know this is kind of off topic, but it's not. But again, for some of you, this may be like you wondering how different spirits can affect you or what have you. So Matthew 12 43 through 45, it literally talks about this spirit. It says, okay, so now when the unclean spirit has gone out of a man, it roams through waterless, dry, arid places in search of rest, but it does not find it. And remember that one of the things, as we get ready to talk about Cain and Abel, one of the things that the Lord cursed Cain with was he wouldn't have any place to rest, any place to settle. Then it says, so he looked for a place, could not find it. Then it says, I will return to my house from which I came, and when it arrives, it finds the place unoccupied, swept and put in order. Then it goes and brings with it seven other spirits more wicked than itself, and they go in and make their home there. And the last condition of that man becomes worse than the first. So will it be with this wicked generation. So the Lord started talking to me again. I'm reading about this, and he starts talking to me about how, he starts talking to me. Good morning, Asia baby. I've been trying to make sure you saw your gift from Spiritually Protected. I have not seen it, but if I didn't see it, please email me, because I have not seen it. So the Lord starts talking to me about like making sure that we get our house in order, that we get, but one thing about it, like, how people get delivered from something, but then you may be delivered from something. It may be removed, but you got to feel that place with the Lord. And so the Lord, even in this, he was like, this is the first evidence of demonic possession. Demonic, like demons entering, spirits coming in, is real. And Satan also taught his children, right, how to do this, which is why they end like the wicked started multiplying, which is why he wanted to talk about this in this point. Y'all tripped me out because I was just like, wow, you never think about that. You never think about the origins of things. But this is also the importance of making sure that we keep our house in order, that we make sure that we are filling that space, filling our spirit with God, right? Feeling. And so I don't know, that was just a side note, but the Lord started explaining that to me yesterday, and I was just like, OMG, that's crazy. So anyway, so that was a side note. Good morning, Rose. Good morning. Okay. So he wanted man to suffer because of his own disobedience. He tells sinners that sin won't kill you, but he omits what the consequences are. He didn't tell her what he suffered as a result of his own rebellion and disobedience, but he did indeed suffer. But that's usually what he does, right? He don't tell us what the consequences are. He just tells us that it's going to give us knowledge or wisdom, or that it's going to make us better in some way. Don't. The enemy does not have a new playbook. He tells them that it's advantages to sins, that instead of loss, they would gain life, but it's actually the opposite of what we get. And he never tells us that. And again, y'all, the Lord is like, listen, I got to prepare you. You stepping into something new. Sin is crouching at your door. And he alluded to this through faith, right? And how the enemy will try to come in and literally, and again, y'all, I will say this again, I be walking out the word because I saw it in my own life with one of the ways that the enemy was trying to come in, making me, telling me things and just making me doubt certain things, or doubting myself, doubting the vision, doubting what the Lord is calling me to, doubting my purpose. Like these are real things. And so the Lord will allow you to experience it, but you also have to be receptive to his voice so that he can then show you, like, hey, don't fall for that. Don't fall for that, because it's a tactic of the enemy. So for many of you, again, as we're stepping into something new, the enemy is trying to come in and make you, yes, Chris Curl said, good morning, Rose. I don't know if I said that. Total confusion. All of a sudden you've been completely clear about what you're doing. You know what you got going on, all that. Okay, all of that. And then all of a sudden you just feel like, you like, wait a minute, okay, maybe I'm tripping, maybe I didn't hear the Lord, maybe that's not what I'm supposed to be doing, maybe I'm not in alignment. The enemy really is trying to come in at this point and try to make you doubt as you're first getting started, as your faith is first being strengthened, as you're beginning something new, y'all. These points of transition are so crucial. I kid you not, y'all. These points of transition are so crucial. He tells them that there's advantages. I said that. He's encouraging them that the wrong thing was better for them, insinuating that they would be much improved by eating the fruit. But what could they gain when they already had everything? So that was the other thing, because it says, there's really no differentiation between that tree than any other tree, because everything that was in the garden was good. Everything was good. So there was really nothing that made it, like, that pointed it out. It didn't look, they just knew that it was that tree. But everything that they had was good. It was beautiful. It was fruitful. Everything was good. God has told us from the beginning, the wages of sin is death. So this is where we first hear this, and we know we've heard this scripture. The wages of sin is death, because as soon as sin comes in, death is in too. And of course, they didn't know this, but as we read through the Bible, and as I've just been doing study, y'all, like, you really don't even think of how big of a consequence this was. Like, we can sometimes think that one little thing that we do doesn't really mean anything, but man, the one small thing can have some huge repercussions, y'all. Huge. Okay. Satan is the evidence of that, and as are his seed, the spiritually dead. um he tempted them with forbidden wisdom. Some things are not meant for us to know. And this is when the Lord started talking to me about sorcery and magic and doing things that you're not supposed to do to gain knowledge. Like that's where we end up getting messed up, y'all. And what ends up happening again, if you know, you know, if you and y'all, I'm literally re-listening to the book of Enoch right now. I'm little over halfway finished with it. I've been listening to it on the treadmill, and this is not the first time, but I went back because I felt like I needed to listen to it again. And so if you know, you know that one of the things that the fallen angels did was teach the children of men about all this hidden knowledge, all this stuff that they only knew about in the spirituals, all this stuff that like this heavenly knowledge, they ended up teaching that. That's how we know a lot of it now. It was hidden knowledge that they taught to us, which is why there was no chance of them getting back into heaven because they sinned against God, they rebelled, and then they made us rebel too. So it wasn't just this one sin, right? Because if you because and again, this is me just saying, putting it on out here. If you have not listened to it, then some of the stuff you'll be like, well, how did they know all of this stuff? How did they learn how to do all of this? But the book of Enoch actually explains a lot of that. So if you find it, if you think it's necessary, if you just take, you know, because it's canonical, right? That's it. That's the thing. It's either there are things that have been taken out of the Bible. We know this, but there's truth if you want to find the truth, right? You just have to want to know it. So there were things that we were taught, hidden knowledge that we weren't supposed to know, but then we were taught it, and that's when our eyes were open to different things. We were taught how to make weapons and how to do all these different things that weren't even a part of what Adam and Eve knew or what they were doing. But remember, there were angels in the garden, fallen and heavenly. So just remember that. Okay. Your eyes shall be open more. So basically, this it was a bait and hook. Your eyes shall be open, more power, pleasure, seeing further into things. He spoke as if he was just the if it was just the tip of the iceberg. What they knew now was just the beginning of what they could know. So he started telling them that it was more to know, and there's nothing wrong with wanting to know. And he baited them with pride as well. He was letting them know, like, if you eat this fruit, you gonna be up there with God. You gonna know what God knows. And so sure enough, and I think it was more so, and I'm a side with Eve. I feel like she was just like, you know, oh well, okay, well, maybe that sounds good because it didn't sound bad, right? Um, but who knows? You shall be as gods, as Elohim, as God Himself, equal to Him, rivals to Him, sovereigns, and no longer servants. And that was what one of the things that made Lucifer mad, because we know that angels are servants, right? They are in service to God. That is their job. And then they're in service to us as well. And so all of these things that he told them wouldn't was going to be positive for them, these are the things that he wanted himself, right? But he didn't tell Eve what the results were of his rebellion. So he wanted to be equal to God. He wanted to rival him. He didn't want to be ruled. He wanted to rule. He didn't want to serve. Um, he wanted to be self-sufficient. He didn't want to depend on the Lord. So these are the things which he tempts us with, right? So that we can fall into rebellion, so that we can be disobedient, which is cray cray. I literally wrote this, which is cray cray that the created could be above the creator. This is why we need to understand, how could we possibly be above the creator when he created us? That's like, to me, it's just like, how would you even think that if we were made and the angels were made and the Lord created us, how could you ever think, because we don't one thing we don't have the ability to do, and the enemy definitely don't, he can't create anything. Again, he can only influence, he can only persuade, he can only try to tempt you, but he cannot create anything. Who said that? I just watched it the other day. I want to say it was Cat Williams. Shout out Cat Williams. I want to say it was Cat Williams, and we've seen things in the media, and one I think, and I don't remember exactly what even the conversation was about, but he said it. He was just like, the enemy can't create anything. Like, he does not have that kind of power. And so he only has the power that we attribute to him, y'all. But the Bible shows us what power he has and what power he has not, right? They can only trip us up. That's it. They can only trip us up. They can only make us fall out of alignment, try to persuade us that we're not doing the right thing. Um, so just keep that in mind, y'all, because I think that that was one of the things that I had to learn. And also, I talk a lot about I'm not giving the enemy no power over me. Like, drop that in the chat. I'm taking my power back because we give the enemy too much credit. I say that all the time. I meant it. Okay. Because we give the enemy so much credit in our lives. And that's why we end up giving him. And then even sometimes we give the enemy credit instead of telling ourselves that we're the ones who's allowing him to determine what we're doing. But that's what his goal is, right? Chris Curl says, had I not, wait a minute, I was coming to it. Hold on, let me go back to it. Chris Curl says, because I want to read it. Had I not been here to witness your walk and journey, I wouldn't know this truth. I can relate looking retrospectively now that the devil is a trickster. Chris Curls has been with me from the very beginning, y'all. She has been in every group that I created. Like there's a couple of people. Matter of fact, I think it's just her and I want to say Jared have literally been with me from the very beginning. And it was different, y'all. It was different because the devil was lying to me. And I was thinking certain things and not understanding what I was doing. He really is. He's a liar and he's a trickster. And so they've even seen me develop over time into a more godly mindset. So thank you, dearest one, for continuing to rock with me. I appreciate that. Cherie was like, I was thinking like how our children think they more than their parents or have more power until you get realigned and gripped up by spirit. So we talked about, I think I mentioned this yesterday. We talked about like these children that's just out of control. Y'all, I don't pay a lot of attention to it, but I think I told y'all my daughter was like, my baby, man, this is my baby girl. And she was like, Mama, and I never, now one thing I never do. Now they got some whoopings, okay? They got some whoopings, but I wasn't the one, the mama. I'm not just gonna hit my children. I ain't never just hit them or try to, like I ain't on that. I'm not a cuss you out, call you out your name kind of mama. I don't agree with that. But she was just like, but mama, you should have would have had popped us in the mouth because these children are out of control, right? And we talked about that yesterday. The Lord was like, what about the little children? Because these children then got beside themselves. Y'all, these little children. Now my baby said she said something else, but she was just like, children get out of control and they be thinking that they running something, and then you be had to snatch them up. Like these little children make you want to hurt them. Look, well, I said, well, mama, you ain't do us like that. Well, there was a, maybe it's just me. There was a level of fear that I had with my mama. Like I wasn't trying to cross that lady because my mama felt you scared me. I mean, because my mama wasn't no joke, y'all. So I don't know what is going on. Who said it? Somebody said because we some blank parents, not me. Cause what? Ain't no play with the little children. Like what? I'm not even finna talk to you too much. Cause who finna repeat? These little children, my baby had to make me hip. She say these little children out here, they talking, telling the parents no. And the parents just sitting there recording the child acting out. Then the child going to the school and they turning over desks and fighting the teachers. Wait a minute, what? We'll squab up. Cause what? Hold on, little honey bunny. Who you see? And listen, let me just stop this. I want y'all to say thank you to our educators. Can we say thank you to our educators real quick? Because it's not everybody's assignment. Because some of us, I'll be them wanted to snatch a kid up. Like so thank you to our educators who are still fighting the good fight and educating our children because these little children is out of control. Okay. And yes, they are craving great role models and they need them. Um, because what they're seeing now is a completely different thing, y'all. And no, not, and I told my daughter this as well. Because she was telling me about something else, and I was like, "Well, what they do now instead of having educational things put in front of them when my children were coming up, my dad, I love my dad, y'all. My stepdad, love you, Vernell. I love my stepdad. He's so amazing, and I don't know what I would do without him. One of the things he did with my children, he always made sure that they had something educational. He would buy them toys, but all the electronic toys he would buy them, they were some kind of little leap pad, leapfrog, something that was going to teach them something. Like, he wasn't just getting them toys for the sake of toys or presents just for the sake of presents. He always bought them something that was going to teach them or help them learn in some kind of way. So here, my daughter's 22, y'all, and she was talking about, she was in her feelings. She was just like, Mama, these children don't know how to spell these words, and they don't know how to do these things, and all these things that apparently the children don't know how to do. And she said, and all everybody want to do is put a iPad or some kind of, put a phone in front of them. And so now it's just like, man, who's teaching the children? What about the little children, right? So this, but then, and then they grow up into, what's the word, into children that don't want to, they're rebellious, they don't want to, so you don't want to listen to your parents, so then that makes you grow up and be a person who don't want to listen to anybody, right? And so, side note, this is why the Lord also is like, hey, I want you to start doing this Kahoot, because even though I'm speaking to mostly adults, you never know if a child is going to come across this, and hopefully them have an interest in wanting to learn. Yeah, I don't know about y'all, but we had to learn how to write in cursive. I don't even think they teach cursive writing anymore, y'all. Like, it's just little things that were so significant for us, and we thought it was crazy, but now they brought it back again. But now it's like they don't even, these things are necessary, y'all. Like, we have got to be out here teaching our children and being role models for our youth, y'all, because they're being exposed to different things. Now, mind you, when I was out here, when I was out strumpeting, because I was doing a little strumpeting, okay, yeah, a strumpet was. Anyway, when I was in my hot girl season, okay, I was in my hot girl season, the things that I was exposed to and the things we were doing. Now, I'm not here to tell nobody what to do, but the weed ain't the weed that I was smoking when I was smoking weed. I'm just saying, like, y'all, this stuff out here done got crayness. Like, who is it is, and this is the things that are being exposed, because now our children have access to stuff. So this is why, if the Lord is calling you out, He's also going to call you out to, and it may even, because even for me, it's a little difficult to put things in that perspective. But I'm just like, man, somebody got to help the children. Like, we and it's not everybody's assignment, but man, y'all, like, we have to be out here. Like, what about our children? Because these are the generations coming up after us. So we have to be willing to change them and help them and encourage them. And they need role models that have their clothes on. They need role models that, are not showing them all the negative things of life. So just remember that. Yes, Miss Butter Leo. Good morning, dearest one. We need, yeah, safe adults. Like, we need to be that for the children message. Um, because they need it, right? They need it more than ever. Because what's happening is they're literally being told and taught and shown to be rebellious. Anyway, so I hope that makes sense, and I hope that'll makes each one of us kind of reflect and be like, man, because these are the children that are coming up after us, right? Here we go. Um, you shall, okay, so I wrote this. You shall know God and evil. You shall know good and evil. They didn't know the difference at this point. So he told them something to make them know that there was more that they didn't know. So uh-oh. Look, they restricted me. Okay. I don't know if it's still on, but they restricted me. I forget. Y'all, I don't be knowing what's going to restrict and what's not. So let me just move on past it, because they restricted my live. Anyway, I'm back. He did not say that he had the power to do this or could give them this. So the Lord said, this is a footnote. The enemy never said that he could do this. He never said that he could provide this for them. He did not say that he had the power to do this or give them this. It still had to come from God, right? He could only influence, not create. So he had to take something God already created and convince and persuade that it was good or bad. He has no power but the ability to influence or coerce. Okay, so just remember that is prompting them to rebel with his own desires and wishes. And that's what we were just talking about. All the things he wanted that he couldn't have. These are the things that he got kicked out of heaven for, right? Good morning, Sandy. Good morning. He tried to make them discontent with their current state, which is what the enemy's trying to do. Message what the enemy's trying to do right now. He is trying to make us discontent with your current state. He is trying to make us discontent with where God has us at right now. I want somebody to drop this in the chat. God knows where I'm at. He knows where we at, y'all. He knows where we're at. And this is something that anytime I start to try to just like get beside myself and start questioning and start doubting, he wants to make us so discontent with our current state, our current finances, our current situation, our current everything that we feel like is not what the Lord has for us, that we're going to no longer be dependent upon God to come in and be like, I got you. He wants us to start feeling like we need to be self-sufficient. And one of the things that we know is that God said, you can depend on me. I'm going to make sure that I'm going to take care of you. But he's trying to make us, he wants us to be independent. He wants us to be independent of God instead of dependent upon him. So many times, and this has happened to me so many times. I could truestory.com. I feel like this is something that I'm still learning. I'm still learning this, y'all. He wants us to not to depend on God and to depend on ourselves. So he starts telling us what we can do instead of what God can do. He starts trying to make us focus on doing it ourselves instead of letting the Lord bring in what he wants you to have. And it is one of the biggest, when I say that this is probably one of the biggest lessons I've had to learn, y'all, and I'm still learning it. God said, if you just wait and you'll just believe. But this goes back to that when your faith starts wavering and your resolutions start wavering, all of a sudden then you want to go try to figure it out yourself. And there have been so many times that I have done this, and I don't know, maybe it's just me, where the Lord has said, don't do that, I got you. And then you start getting worried that it's not going to happen or that God's not going to do it. So then you go try to figure it out, and then you get yourself stuck in something that is not as easy to get out of as it was to get in. Does that does this make sense? Y'all, if I can tell anybody anything, say that. I'm sorry, Lord. Because y'all, it's a lot easier to get in trouble than it is to get out of it. It's so much, it's just like it's so easy, so much easier to mess up your credit than it is to fix it. Like is in and that's one of the things I use all the time. Thank you, dearest one. Hey, relaxing. It's like y'all, it's so much easier to get in than it is to get out. I'm not ashamed of this. Look, I didn't put myself in the hole. Anybody ever been on a credit rebuilding journey? You know how hard it is to try to rebuild your credit and get it back up. Many of us weren't taught about credit. Story for another day. But and a lot of times by the time you know that how important your credit is, you be to messed it up. Listen, it's a lot easier to get in than it is to get out. But see, the enemy don't tell us that. So just be mindful. Sometimes we'll go get ourselves in the Lord be done told you that person is not for you. That's a counterfeit. Don't do that. That's not a good friend. Don't believe them. Don't trust them. He be done told you not. Don't take that job. You gonna hate it. But then we'll go do it anyway. And then we end up in something that is not for our highest and greatest good. What you say, Sandy? I'm living it. Message. Okay. So just know that, y'all, like it is so much easier to just listen to the Lord and just wait. This why the Lord be like, be still and know that I am God. Be still and know that I am God. Be still and know that the opportunities, and the Lord talked to me about this today. The opportunities, the right doors, the right connections, the right people, the right access, the right resources, the right everything will show up in divine timing. And so the Lord, so for some of you, this may be a message where the Lord is like, hold on, be patient, wait a minute, hold on, you finna get ahead of me. It's not time yet. Finish this out before you start the next thing. Don't do that yet. It's not time for it. And it'd be hard. One of the hardest things that we have to learn is to be patient and wait on God, because you get tired, you get weary, you get tired of things being the way they are. You like, man, I'm ready for this season to end, this season to change. I need something different. You ready to see you ready to see the results, the fruit, but the Lord's like, it's not time yet. So for many of us, the Lord is one of the main things he will teach you in your, especially in your wilderness season, is patience, right? Ambition of preferment, making them think they were fit to be gods, equal to God. Now, I didn't go do the study on this, but I know that there um is a scripture where Jesus says something about ye are like you are gods or something like that. But this is about understanding that we have the power of God within us. So yes, we have the ability. This is why there's life and death in the power of the tongue. And this is where the Lord went. Instead of going to that, he was just like, listen, this is why you have to be careful what you're speaking. Are you speaking life, or are you speaking death? Are you speaking joy, or are you speaking negativity? We have to be mindful of those things, because we truly have God within us, our spirit, the Spirit of God within us, that can help those things to begin to manifest. He ruined himself by desiring to be like the Most High and above him. So he wants God's creation, his most prized possessions, to be like him, since he no longer had God's favor. So the enemy mad. So he knows that God favors us, and he mad because he knows that he no longer has God's favor. We are his prized possessions. And so he wants us to come out of God's favor. And as if God intentionally withheld something that would make them better, this is him trying to convince them, or deliberately wanted them unaware, or that he didn't want them to have happiness. Sometimes, as if he feared his own creation would be greater than him. First of all, what does God have to fear? He's the creator of everything. I don't feel God don't have anything to fear. Why would he not want them to know? God knew that once the door to sin was open, there was no closing it. But the enemy ain't gonna tell us that. He's not gonna tell you what the consequences are. He sows discord and is the father of those that do so. He was having a temper tantrum, basically. He was big mad. He was having a temper tantrum. So he was like, because I can't get my way, I'm gonna try to mess it up for everybody else. Hence him receiving his own punishment. Happened to be 11:11 when I was writing this particular part. I said, now this is not a cuss word, so I mean, because it's not, because I looked up the definition for it, just so that you know, because I wrote this, y'all. First one, the number 828 came up, right? The number 828 came up, and it was 11:11 at this exact time when this came up. I say, Satan, the arrogant bastard, and I was like, "Oop." I was like, my bad. I had to go look up the word bastard. And it really just means an unpleasant or despicable person. Okay. No longer in its pure or original form, debased, is what the word bastard means. So I don't know. But I said what I said. Okay. I said what I said. He was arrogant. Okay. He wanted to alienate their affections towards God because he was mad at God. He was mad at his daddy. Y'all ever seen another Marvel movie just coming into my spirituals? Y'all ever seen the Age of Ultron? The Avengers Age of Ultron, when Tony Stark created Ultron, and then he couldn't stand him. He was so mad at him. That was the analogy that the Lord showed me when he was talking about like Satan. He was like, man, and what was Ultron's goal? To destroy the world. He wanted to get rid of everybody, right? He wanted to alienate their affections towards God and withdraw them from their allegiance to him. They're hardening their hearts to make us think God doesn't care, because, or doesn't want us to be happy, doesn't provide, doesn't love us, all this because of what his rebellion brought on him. Okay. And that's it. That's where I'm gonna stop. Let me see. Oh no, I'm gonna get a couple more. To win against the enemy, always think well of God as the best good, and think ill of sin as the most evil. This lets us resist the devil, and he will flee from us. So he's trying to basically, because this is what happened when, of course, Jesus was in the wilderness. He's going to keep trying to convince us that God is bad and he is good, and that anything God says is wrong and everything else is right. And it's always just the opposite. And if you can continue to just lean on that and lean on God and his promises, his word, the word of God, then the enemy will flee from you. And it doesn't mean, now here, understand this, just like it was with Jesus, it doesn't mean he won't be back. He'll be back. But there are ways to defeat him when he knows that you're standing on the word of God, you're standing on your faith, you're standing on your belief, you know that God got you. He will leave until he finds another opportunity, because he will be back. And it even says that when Jesus was tempted, he was like, and then the enemy fled, but he will come back. We are often betrayed into snares by an inordinate desire to have our senses gratified. So a lot of times we get trapped up and tricked into disobedience because we want our flesh to be satisfied instead of just waiting on the Lord. All the trees in the garden were pleasant and good to look at. There was no difference or anything that made that particular tree special, except for the fact that the Lord said, don't eat from this fruit. Don't eat from this tree. Because we can't have it, we want it all the more and are thus tempted by it. This is like, he gave me the example of David and Bathsheba, because of course she belonged to somebody else, but he wanted it. So what did he do? He committed a sin in order to get what he wanted. A spirit of contradiction is in our spirituals. The desire of knowledge under the mistaken notion of wisdom proves hurtful and destructive to many. So once again, the Lord is like, listen, he's telling us the things, the ways that the enemy tries to come in, tempt us, make us think that something ain't what it is, or it is what it ain't. And so he's warning us, and that's why, because I thought, like I said, I thought we were going to be done with this part of the message, but the Lord was like, no, because the thing about it is, he's given it, what he said, he's given us a more comprehensive understanding of what, like, these tricks and these snares and these traps, y'all. He has to. Why? Because we are at the beginning of something new. So once again, y'all know I said this the other day, right? That the Lord's like, we're not rushing through this, because it's like my people perish from a lack of knowledge. The more aware you are of how the enemy will try to come up against you, the better prepared you are to fight. The more knowledge you have, the more awareness that the Lord can give you, the better you're going to be equipped to go out and do what it is that you are meant to do. Isaiah 54:17 at the bottom of the deck. No weapon formed against you will prevail, and you will refute every tongue that accuses you. This is the heritage of the servants of the Lord, and this is their vindication from me, declares the Lord. And it's no weapon formed, opposition, allies, and the armor of God. So the Lord is strengthening us to fight. He gonna give us what we need in order to successfully fight in this new season, y'all. Because again, this is, some of you, this may be like the very beginning of whatever. This could just be a new you. And the Lord is going to continue to show us the ways that we where our weakest links are, where our weak spots are, where we need to strengthen, what we need to strengthen. Um, so be aware of that. Okay. I always thought it meant a fatherless child. I looked up the definition because I felt like I was saying a cuss word, y'all. Like, true story. And the cuss, and I literally, and you can go Google this, right? They over here on the YT side of the street said, I thought a bastard was something different. I thought the word had a different meaning. It's an unpleasant or despicable person, and no longer in its pure or original form, debased. Okay, so those are the definitions that I looked up. There may be some more, but those are the ones that I found when I looked it up, right? So just saying. And it says it, and even in the studies that I was doing, y'all, it literally says it talked about it. I saw the word again. It was crazy that I said it, and then I ended up seeing it in my studies, but I was actually further, I think I was further down. It might have been in Genesis 5 when I was studying it yesterday, and I was like, huh, ain't that interesting? Because, child, and I don't be trying to say too many cuss words, but I ain't never said I don't have them in my spirituals. But the Lord was like, that's not really a cuss word. So I receive it, Lord, but I ain't just gonna be calling everybody that either. So don't be going out calling, don't be going out calling everybody that. Okay. That is good to know. Things change all the time. That could have just been something they were telling us when we were little. Well, I think it's because we use it. Come on, 633. I think it's because it's normally used like in a derogatory way. Like usually you calling somebody a bastard, you're not saying anything nice about them. Like you calling them something because you feel some type of way about them. So it wasn't used in no good way. At least y'all sure didn't. All I do it, here we go. Malachi 3:10, we receive the overflow, Lord. Drop it in the chat. Like, this is my overflow season. Overflow the floodgates of heaven, harvest and blessings. Bring the whole tithe into the storehouse, that there may be food in my house. Test me in this, says the Lord Almighty, and see if I will not throw open the floodgates of heaven and pour out so much blessing that there will not be room enough to store it. I tell you what, for some of y'all, be praying over the blessing. Pray over your harvest. Pray over your harvest, pray over your blessings. Because if you, I planted some kingdom seeds today. Pray over the things that you're asking the Lord to bring into your life. I feel like one of the biggest things that the enemy does is trying to keep us from believing that you're finally going to come into your season of overflow, that you're finally going to come into your season of abundance, that the Lord is finally going to give you the promises that we know are in the word. And so again, this is a mind thing. This is where that seed of doubt will get planted, because many times we feel like we're planting without a reward or without a harvest. And it's coming up somewhere in the notes, I'm pretty sure. I can't remember it was, but it's like the Lord promised us blessing from the very beginning. Remember with Adam and Eve, he literally was like, listen, go forth and go be fruitful and multiply. And he gave them a blessing from the very beginning. So I feel like the Lord is going to continue to reiterate to us that the blessing is coming. Whatever you're waiting on from the Lord, it is coming. But it gets, sometimes it feels like it's just a long time coming. And he's also been talking a lot about long suffering as well. But here we go. John 14:27, peace I leave with you, my peace I give you. We talked about this yesterday. I do not give to you as the world gives. Do not let your hearts be troubled and do not be afraid. This talks about above and beyond a dozen peace and disciples. So for many of the, for me, so this is also, and we talked about peace in detail yesterday. This is also about knowing, y'all. Which part? This is also about knowing that you have to, the Lord wants us to be at peace with understanding and knowing that he is going to fulfill his promises to you. And many of us, maybe you're in a season, and I can receive this. Maybe you're in a season where you're just like, Lord, it's sure taking a long time. Lord, I surely am waiting on you, and you're not seeing what. Now, y'all, look. First of all, it's 111 on the timer. And I've been telling y'all this is the fourth time that I saw the number 111. And I told y'all we was going to be talking a lot about faith. Now look what was up under this. Let me just show y'all. Now I did this many days ago, and literally hold on, let me put this down. This is at the bottom of the deck, right? 828. I can't make it up. Let me put this down. Look what do you see this? Y'all see 828? 828? Is it at 11? Just throw the whole cards away. Throw them away. Tiff said 11 at 11:11. Do y'all see this? At 8, can we what you say, Lord? You meant it in your spirituals? Literally 828. I'm showing this to over here. 828 at 11:11. 828 at 11:11. And here's the 828 card. Okay, let me come back. My bad, y'all. Here we go. This, of course, speaks to Romans 8 and 28. And we know that in all things, God works for the good of those who love him, who have been called according to his purpose. Okay. And I have success on this card. This is taking charge. This is bossing up. This is spiritual awakening, abundance, and success. That is crazy. And y'all, I'll just write something that is so craziness. Where is even that? If you had just wanted to show up in the message, just say that, right? Just say that, because there's no way. There's just no way. And this is the kind of stuff, y'all. You can be as gifted as you want to be, as gifted as the Lord has given you gifts. But I tell you what, when the Lord does stuff like this, it's still, anytime the Lord does this, y'all, it just blows my mind. because you just cannot make this stuff up. And I need somebody to understand that the Lord will, it's these little things, these little confirmations. We be looking for the big stuff. We be wanting the Lord to do like these big miraculous things, but this is just letting me know, okay, Lord, I'm in alignment. Okay, Lord, I heard you right. I'm moving in the right direction. I'm listening, Lord. I'm tracking. Okay, I got you, Lord. Okay, I don't know why you told me to write down 828 that day and 1111, but then here at 1111 we get the 828 card. So it'll be, hey, dearest one, good morning, spiritually. Um, but then you'll get these kind of confirmations where the Lord is just like, listen, be at peace. I'm with you. I'm right here with you. You don't have to worry about it. Yes, the blessing is coming. Yes, the abundance is coming. Yes, the promises will be fulfilled. So I pray that that is a blessing for someone to let you know, like, listen, you may not understand the way the Lord is doing everything, or maybe you're even questioning, like, Lord, did I hear you correctly? But he will come in. He's always talking. He will always let you know, and he will always confirm his word, right? He will confirm it every time without fail. So many of you, this is also an indicator, a reminder. Some of you, 828 could be a significant day, but not even just that. This is also letting you know that you're currently on the path that you need to be on, and stay on the path. Don't start deviating because it doesn't look the way that, and I receive this as well. Don't start deviating because it doesn't look the way you thought it was. Because for many of you, the way that the Lord is going to bring the blessings into your life is not going to be the way that you expect. Sometimes he'll just make you go through an experience so that you can be prepared for the next step. And so don't think there are going to be open doors and opportunities that the Lord is creating, that he's bringing you through, people that you never know what it is from that. It could be one thing, one experience, one conversation. Maybe it's exposure to something, but it's why he gave the message of looking back, to so you can kind of see how everything has begun to align, why certain people have entered your life, how they're going. You never know how people are going to help you later on. He's speaking, he's bringing, come on, Spirit, he's bringing up the importance of relationships as well. Understand this. There are going to be people who fall off, but understand that the Lord is also going to be teaching us how to cultivate relationships, so you know how to deal with people. Now, let me say something, because he said, me and the Lord had this conversation yesterday. I need someone to understand that it does not matter whether you out here being the most beautiful spirited person. You could be happy, joyful, walking around skipping, you sunshine and rainbows, and somebody's still gonna find something wrong with you. So it is the nature of men to find something wrong, something to complain about. So for whoever needs this part of the message, and I didn't understand why the Lord was telling me, because I'm gonna say what I'm gonna say, because I am who I am. Most of us are not going out with the intention of trying to rub somebody the wrong way, but it doesn't matter who you are. You can be doing everything right, and somebody's going to find something wrong to say. Okay, so I hope that makes sense. And so don't be afraid. There's going to be someone who's going to pick apart what you're saying. If you say one thing wrong, well, it doesn't matter. And I'm just using this because this is what I just heard. Like, imagine me misquoting a scripture and someone's like, that's not what the. Oh, so is that, because you know what I'm saying? You got to be mindful of that, y'all. We're not always gonna get everything right, but there are people who are looking for you to make a mistake. There are people who are looking for something not to like you for. So just be mindful of that, as you're going out to do your work. They talked about Jesus. They didn't believe him. They crucified him. They mocked him. All of those. So he is our example, right? Jesus is our example. So just remember that. Somebody always gonna have something to say. And I don't care how good a job you do. And then I think, and part of it came up yesterday, because one of our problems in this world is that we'll look at the bad stuff as good and the good stuff is bad. And ain't that a scripture somewhere? We'll call evil good and good evil. And so that's like, people are trying to turn you against things of the light and make you think that the dark is where it's at. This is a tactic of the enemy, y'all. So people are going to try to say, even if you out there sharing God's good love, light, and healing energy, people are still going to try to tell you that you're doing wrong. And I literally wrote it in my notes yesterday, where it was just like, man, do you realize that a lot of times The people who are doing the wicked things, the dishonorable things, the negative things, those are the people that are put up on the pedestal. Those are the people who, get the fame and the recognition, and they're not only is what they're doing kind of swept under the rug and it's just like, oh, it's nothing, then they're also honored as a result of the wickedness. And this is why the Lord, like why Jesus came with an upside down kingdom. He ain't come in trying to fight. No, he's changing the dynamic. He's changing the earth with love, with healing, with light, instead of coming in fighting. So this is why we got to be at peace as well. Like, come in with a peaceful spirit. Fight in a different way. We're gonna fight with the love of the Lord, right? Because God is love. Okay. Some people just like to always antagonize. Like, yeah, it's a true story, y'all. Good morning, Lynn. Good morning. Let's see what else, y'all. Here we go. All it do is, so for some of you, this is about maybe like just knowing that you're already on a successful path. Are you following God? Are you listening to the Lord? Are you trusting in his instructions? Good morning, Osiris. Good morning. Are you trusting him, right? Then you're already on your successful path. Just stay on it, okay? Six of Cups is the next card to come out. This talks about Joseph's forgiveness, forgives his brothers, reconciliation and forgiveness. Joseph, after being sold into slavery by his jealous brothers, rises to a powerful position in Egypt. Drop this in the chat. I'm on the rise. I think that, and I know this is the Six of Cups, and we know this talks about how, well, I'll read it in a second, but I just heard the Lord say that many of you don't even understand that you really are being prepared for greatness. And it doesn't always seem like it's greatness that's coming when you are in the prison. Imagine, we know about Joseph, right? Do we pay more attention to the fact that he was second in command in Egypt, or the fact that do we look at what he had to actually experience before he got there? And David and Joseph are two of the, and more so Joseph here lately, that the Lord has been like, I kind of, again, you can see yourself in characters in the Bible in the situations that you are dealing with, right? Come on, Joseph. So when we look at these characters in the Bible, we oftentimes look at what they did when they were successful. And we see this in our lives as well. We see our successful people, those who are, we would say, the upper echelon, but we don't oftentimes know, because unless they come back and tell us, and usually they do that after they've gotten where they're going, but we don't oftentimes see when they were in their Joseph season. Come on, Spirit. And many of us were in our Joseph season, where maybe you've gone through the betrayal of your family like he did. The Lord gave him dreams. He gave him a vision. He showed them something that was going to happen, or showed him something that was going to happen, but he didn't tell him when it was going to happen or even how. He just had a dream. So for many of us, the Lord he's planted a dream. He's given us a vision of something that he's going to make come to pass. But he didn't tell Joseph that he was going to have to be betrayed, that if his own family was going to throw him to the wolves. He didn't tell him that. He didn't tell him he was going to be thrown into the system. He didn't tell him that he was going to be sold into slavery. He didn't tell him that he was going to be in prison. He didn't tell him any of these things. And he had to go through all of that in order to become who God actually showed him who he was going to be. It was a long time in between then, y'all. It was years. And so many times, the Lord has been using Joseph as a way to make me remember, like, listen, don't think it not strange when people rise to great. When I finally bring you up, you've got to go through some things. You've got to go through some challenges in order to become. Joseph had to be prepared through everything he went through as well. So we don't always want to hear that, because the struggle is hard. But I literally released the Leo video today, that there's strength in the struggle, and it's hard for us to receive that sometimes, y'all, but there's strength in the struggle. And sometimes, yes, your challenges are a little harder than somebody else's. And the Lord, he checked me about this. He was just like, yeah, but your greatness will also be more than theirs. Some people won't go through your challenges and difficulties or understand how hard yours was, but they also are, he's not also not setting them up for your greatness, your level of greatness as well, right? Because for Joseph, he forgets. So despite the great wrong done to him, forgives his brothers, explaining that God used their evil message. God used their evil intentions for good by allowing him to save many lives. He had no idea, right, He had no idea how many lives he was actually going to save. He saved millions, really, demonstrating a profound act of grace and reconciliation through God's intervention. Joseph's family comes to Egypt unknowingly encountering their long lost brother. Joseph eventually reveals his identity and assures his brothers that he holds no grudge, explaining that God orchestrated events to save their lives. So many of you don't realize even just how much of a profound impact the Lord may be setting you up to create in the lives of others. Not only saving your family, because yes, you probably that generational curse breaker, you that person, and we hear that all the time, where it's just like I'm the generational curse breaker. But I also don't think that many times that a lot of times we recognize the weight that that carries. We say it and we say it proud. I'm the generational curse breaker. But do we realize some of the things that we're breaking off of our generational line? Like it's not easy to break off 17 cycles of like 17 generations of poverty. Like it's not. So think it not strange when the Lord is placing you in a position to be a multimillionaire, but you didn't have, but it's been 17 generations before you that have been in poverty, have been enslaved, that have been, and so it's not an easy yoke to break. Does that make sense? So for some of you, yeah, this mantle is heavy. It's heavy. The Lord never said it wasn't. But if you accept it, then you have to know that there's going to be weight that comes with it. However, we still have the reassurance that we can give it over to God because his yoke is easy, his burden is light, right? So you don't even have to do as much as you think you have to do. You just have to be willing to do what God is asking you to do and give the hard things over to the Lord. Does that make sense? And we take this on and no, we don't often know what it includes, but this is about knowing that the Lord is like, listen, yeah, it's going to be a little different. You may be the first business owner. You may be the first person in your job to do I mean into your family to do something that no one else was able to do. Maybe they weren't able to, maybe they didn't have the capacity. So just know that when you breaking stuff off of your bloodline, y'all, this is something that the enemy that had his neck on and had an attachment to for a long time. And he ain't willing to give it up easily. He's not just like, oh yeah, well, no, if he didn't kept your family held down in this for generations, you think he just want to give this up? No. So yeah, you gonna have to fight for it. Drop that in the chat. Like I'm fighting, I'm gonna fight for it. So this is why the Lord will come in and strengthen us and say, like, listen, you're gonna have to fight for this, you're gonna have to push for this, you're gonna have to keep moving forward for this. Because if you give it up, if you decide to give up, then guess what? It's gonna have to get somebody else is going to have to decide to pick up where you left off. And this is the problem. Like somebody else maybe they were supposed to do it, but they only got as far as they could, or they didn't continue going. So this is why the Lord is giving this to us, right? I'll carry it. You're gonna have to do it. You're gonna have to do it. If you because we I know for me, you better say it. I don't want my children to have to ever go through what I have been through ever. So if I gotta push to put myself in a better position so that my children will be in even better position, because understand this, y'all, we're not doing this for us. We're doing this so that our children, our family, whoever is depending, whoever. I use my children because I don't want my children to ever have to experience the things that I have gone through. I can't stop them. They make their own decisions. But we talked about the little children, right? But if I can be a positive influence for my children and they can see a different version of me than they saw when they were growing up, if I can show them that they can have a better life and then do my best to provide what I can, it's not that they won't have to do what they have to do because they have their own responsibilities. But I'm like, if I can set it up so they don't experience this, yeah, I'm gonna do everything I can. My mama didn't do it for me and my sister. She went as far as she was able to, and then when she couldn't, but then she succumbed to what she couldn't carry. Come on, God, she succumbed to what she couldn't carry. And then here now it's passed on to me and my sister to do this. And if I don't do the very best I can and get as far as I can, then now it's then now one of my children gonna have to pick this up. And what if they decide not to? Then these are cycles that will continue, that we will continue to have to suffer through, and that our children will have to suffer through. No, it takes something to be a generational curse breaker. So never think that this is easy to break something off of your bloodline, y'all. It's not. You just have to be willing to go with God and fight for it. Okay. What else? Whoop. Here we go. Oh Lord, we have the temptation. We have Eve. Okay. We have the Eve card out here. And I put a woman on the apple with an apple on the Empress. Okay. And typically, if you know tarot, then you know that the Empress, and this is in the regular tarot, I'm actually on the Empress card. But I had to put Eve here because she was the mother of creation, right? She was the mother of us, but she's also the one that ate the fruit. So it's like for Eve, there are two things. Even though she sinned and she was the reason the downfall and she gave the fruit to Adam, she's also the mother. She's birth, right? Come on, birth. This is the first time, matter of fact, y'all, that we've actually gotten the Empress. So it's crazy that we're talking about Eve as well. This is the first time we've gotten the Empress in the Bible Clarity Deck. Eve, the first woman in the Bible, was created by God from Adam's rib to be his companion in the Garden of Eden, Genesis 2 and 3, right? She and Adam lived in paradise until she was deceived by the serpent into eating the forbidden fruit from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. She then gave that fruit to Adam, leading to their disobedience against God. As a result, sin and death entered the world and they were banished from Eden. Despite this, Eve became the mother of all humanity, giving birth to Cain, Abel, and Seth, marking the beginning of human history. Her story highlights themes of temptation, free will, and the consequences of disobedience. Can't make it up. And this is the first time we've gotten the Eve card, y'all. So this is about understanding that even even though she messed up, the Lord still blessed her. There's always a blessing in it, y'all. There's always a blessing. And it may not sometimes the blessing looks like a curse because maybe it's a lot to do, or maybe because you didn't understand what it was. When the Lord tells you to give birth to something, to go do something, to create something, you don't always understand what's required. But this is knowing that, listen, this was meant for you to do whatever the Lord is giving to you for you to create. This is meant for you to do, and it's going to be successful. But you also have to believe it, y'all. Again, this is faith. You also have to believe it. And in spite of everything that happened with Eve and her temptation, she still was able, and even though she suffered consequences, she still, if it was not for her, we wouldn't be here. Does that make sense? Okay. I'll do it for my great 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 grandchildren. You better say it. What else, Lord? So for many of you, some of y'all need to do some forgiveness with your mama. Let me just put that out there. That this ain't for everybody, but you'll know if this you'll know this if this is you. You might need to do some forgiveness with your mama or somebody in your family. And even if your mama is into spirituals, I need you to do some forgiveness work. We talked about healing letters and forgiveness letters the other day. So I need somebody who, if you know, you, even if your mama, maybe you didn't know her, forgive your, like, sometimes it was all that she knew. But somebody, there's some healing work that needs to be done between some parents, like a mama and a daughter. I don't know, just know that. Okay, it could be siblings as well. No, because we talked about siblings yesterday. Thank you, Lord. This ain't about siblings, because we talked about that. It's even coming up in the past position. So that some of you, this is about mama. Like, you got to forgive. And or either if you're a mother, which part? You may be a mother and you need to, oh, this is, oh Lord, this gonna go somewhere completely different. For some of you, mm, sip your favorite adult beverage. Hold on, we got to talk about it. Hmm. If you a mama and you have not forgiven yourself for who you were before you found the Lord, or before he came and got you on the straight and narrow, I need you to do some forgiveness with yourself. Because many times we will beat ourselves up about the parents that we were. but we can only be the parents that we know how to be based upon the parenting that we received. So some of you, if you are beating or you could have children, or you like your children could be angry. Some of you, you may have some, your children may have some anger that they're still dealing with and learning how to process because of who you used to be, the upbringing that they had, the way that you raised them, the things that you know you couldn't do for them, you couldn't provide. And the Lord is wanting you to start forgiving yourself for this, and your children will come around. Sometimes they don't, but the Lord will continue to work on your children to let them know. Drop this in the chat. I did the best I can. I don't know who needs this part of the message, but the Lord's like, I need you to know that you did the best that you could. And he's also giving encouragement that as your children grow, they don't always understand when they're children because they're thinking like children. But as your children grow and mature and then become adults and start having to have an adult life and experience things, they will come around. They will start to come around. They'll get a little bit more understanding that they won't necessarily have when they're children. They don't understand why mama couldn't do this, wasn't here, this, that, and the third. But they will begin as they begin to have their own responsibilities. They will come around, and sometimes, and but it's trauma that has to be healed. So give them grace, because some it's just like the Lord continues to give us grace. Give them grace because they have to do their healing on their own time as well. Okay. I'm here with you, the chosen tip. Like, I understand completely, but understand that your children will come around if that's something that you're dealing with. Um, but it sometimes it can take some time, and sometimes you have to be okay if they don't come the way around the way that you want them to, and just continue to pray that the Lord will show them and enlighten them, and give them wisdom about this. And if this is something like dealing with your mama, then you know you're going to have to understand, and this is something me and my mama talked about, well, not as much now. You can only get from your parent what they received. So, and I've told y'all this. My mama didn't have a nurturing mama because her mama didn't have a nurturing mama. So this is about, but you can also change it. You can also shift it as well. Um, you can be the person that breaks that curse, that generational curse off your bloodline as well. Okay. We did the best we could. And then as we grow and mature and learn and heal, then we can do better. But when you know better, you do better. You didn't know what you didn't know. Okay. What else, Lord? Oh, let's talk about it. And look, the Lord and the truth is the truth.com at the bottom of the deck. Let me show y'all why I'm excited about this. Somebody got some partnership coming in. Adam and Eve, y'all. And we ain't even started talking about Adam yet for real. We still on Eve, but we see that Adam is entering the picture. Yeah. So some of you getting ready to have partnership coming in for real. And I just did a message the other day where the Lord was talking about um you got help, like he's getting ready to bring in help. And remember, we talked, I want to say this may have been on the love and clarity, come on, Spirit, this, we did a love and clarity message just the other day. Some of you have a partner coming in. Osiris said, I did the best I could so that I can do even better. Period. Because this is a match, y'all. Now, let me just say this. This is the first time we done got the Adam card as well. Let me read it. So we have the Empress and the Emperor out here. Of course, we're talking about Adam and Eve. I love the Lord. Thank you, Lord. And then we have the Ace of Swords, which is the truth, right? Adam, the first man in the Bible, was created by God from the dust of the ground and given life through God's breath. This is in Genesis 1-3. Placed in the Garden of Eden, he was tasked with tending it and given authority over all living creatures. God created Eve from Adam's rib to be his companion. However, Adam disobeyed God when he ate the forbidden fruit from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil after being tempted by Eve, who was deceived by the serpent. This act of disobedience introduced sin and death into the world, leading to their expulsion from Eden. Adam later became the father of humanity, having children such as Cain, Abel, and Seth, and his story serves as the foundation for humanity's need for redemption. So first things first, some of you are getting like, this is because of the fact that the Bible, this is literally the word of God that is on the Ace of Swords, right? Many of you, you're getting ready, like your person is en route. Now, we already talked about this on the love and clarity message the other day. This is about you being prepared, forgiveness. And also with this, with the Six of Cups coming up and talking about forgiveness, many of you, the Lord is he's like, this is why you have to forgive the people who maybe did you wrong in the past. He's preparing you for partnership. Many of you, this next part of your journey, the thing that he's actually giving you to build, it's actually designed and created for you and your person, male or female, whatever you resonate with. This is about knowing that the Lord is getting ready to send someone in. This is your helpmeet, your helper, because you're meant to build something with a person. You're meant to, y'all, this is something that you're going to be building together. So just know that for who, if, and this is about the Lord making you ready and prepared for it. And if you're, and I would take this back to the Lord and be like, Lord, is this my message? Is this for me? Because sometimes you can be praying for a person, but the Lord will not bring that person because you're not ready for it. So take this back to the Lord and be like, Dad, I want to receive this, and ask the Lord to show you anything that needs to be healed or revealed within you, to search your heart so that he can make you ready for this person to come in. You can go watch the other message where we talked about, like, listen, you got to let go of the toxicity. You have to let go of all of these things in order to be made ready for this spouse that's coming in. This is like a divine union partnership. This is balance as well, because it's the divine masculine and the divine feminine. So some of you, maybe you're just not ready for that step, but this is about creating and maintaining balance within yourself. So that's also very important as well, knowing who you are before a person is introduced into your life. And so this is you being prepared for this person to come in. So just know this again, y'all. The fact that Adam and Eve are out here, we're walking out the word of God. This is truth and clarity, and it's the Ace of Swords. The truth is the truth.com. The word of God refers to the divine communication from God to humanity, primarily embodied in the written text of the Bible itself, which Christians believe is divinely inspired and serves as a direct line to God's will. The Lord did not create us to be alone. So for whoever needs this, the Lord did not create us to be alone. Some people choose it. Some people choose to they only want to be, they don't want, but understand, I am of the opinion that if you're choosing to be alone, message, a lot of it is because of the fact that you have not let go of hurt and trauma from previous relationships, or just, if maybe it's what you're telling yourself, there's nobody for me. There's somebody for everybody, because as we know, the Lord did not create us to be alone. So some of you, this could be about a mindset thing. You know what it is that you're feeling about this. So you have to go talk to God about this, search yourself, and have the Lord search your heart about this. But the Lord did not create us to be by ourselves. Which Christians believe is divinely inspired. And so, okay, this concept also includes Jesus Christ, who is often referred to as the Word in the Gospel of John, signifying that he is the ultimate expression of God's message to mankind, revealing his nature and love through his life, death, and resurrection. The Bible is considered God's spoken word, providing guidance and instruction for living. In the Gospel of John, Jesus is explicitly called the Word, representing the ultimate revelation of God, and the Word of God is seen as having power to change lives and transform individuals. Okay, so this is about understanding as well. Taking God's directives and directions. For some of us, the Lord will, again, this is not, and whoever this is for, this feels like, first of all, building, right? Kingdom spouse, if with divine union partner, whatever you want to call it. This is building with someone. And but the other part of this is about, well, I don't want to sound bad, but let me just say this. Okay, let me give it on both sides. Let me say it on both sides. For we talked about this the other day. For my men, let me start with y'all. For my men, this is about knowing who you are in God. This is about knowing, like, if the Lord is bringing this divine union, this divine feminine into your life, you're gonna have to be the man that you're meant to be. And a lot of times it's like a role reversal. Some of you, it's a role reversal. For my women, if you have been primarily living in, and we talked about this, the divine, in your divine masculine energy, This is about you submitting and relaxing and releasing that and stepping into your divine feminine energy, which means you gonna have to try to don't be in these relationships trying to control this man, because this may be something that will be a turn off in this relationship for this person that's coming in. Because many of us, it's very hard if you've been in control to release that control, but he's not going to allow you to control him. And so some of you might buck at that. What I'm just gonna tell you what spirit love, you might buck at that because you're so accustomed to being in control. And the Lord is like, this is not going to be the relationship that you used to. Okay. So don't think that when this person come in, you just gonna be telling him what to do. Now he's going to take your advice. It's like it's a couple, it's a pair, it's a partnership, it's being equal, but also knowing again that the woman is the weaker vessel. And so he's going to treat you as such. He's going to value you and respect you, but you have to first have those things within yourself. On the flip side of that, men, you're gonna have to lead, you're gonna have to be able to listen to her input. Don't just She's not just a trophy, because many of us, we have set ourselves up to knowing who we are as well. So it's about understanding, and it may not be traditional, but it's just about understanding. Because for some of y'all it's going to be very traditional, because you hadn't actually experienced a traditional, male female dynamic. Maybe the role has always been reversed, but anyway, you finna get ready to have a role reversal. I don't know. Okay, what else? Let me clarity this, y'all. That's the best decision for me as well, Cherie. I'm taking God's directive. Absolutely. Absolutely. Um, Absolutely. I don't know. Y'all know I'm in a season where I'm still I will say this. I'm in a season of working on myself, and I'm grateful that the Lord has given me that opportunity. But just know this, and now this is I was gonna try to flip it, but it's not. This is actually a romantic slash friendship slash partnership. I was gonna try to say maybe this is just a friend, but that's not what the Lord has given me on this, y'all. This is like, look, the contract, this is marriage. And take the contract card. Commitment, binding, guarantee, covenant, promise. Then the king will say to those on his right, come, you who are blessed by my father, take your inheritance, the kingdom prepared for you since the creation of the world. So yes, some of you, this is marriage. You said put that right there. This is marriage. And now let me just show y'all the clarity on this, right? The next part of this. Well, I can't. And I wasn't gonna tell that part of it, but the Lord, I can't. I gotta tell you what spirit love, right? Because this is the thing, the Lord doesn't allow me to water down messages anymore or try to, you know, appease. I'm not here for that. I'm just here to tell you what the Lord wants you to know. But let me also confirm this. This is my grandparents on this card, y'all. Um, Angels. Okay, this is Matthew 7:13 and 14. Enter through, and this is guardians, protectors, but he's giving this in the respect of showing that this is a partnership. In the other tarot deck, I think I actually have them on the Two of Cups, or either the Two of Cups or the Lovers, one of them. But this is about like a partnership. So knowing that this is a divine partnership that's coming in. Enter through the narrow gate, for wide is the gate and broad is the road that leads to destruction, and many enter through it, but small is the gate and narrow the road that leads to life, and only a few find it. Not everybody finds their divine union partner. A lot of times we settle. Drop it in the chat. I ain't settling this season. And so I don't know who needs this. I ain't settling this season. Sandy said, yeah, that GPS took me to the wrong address a couple times. I think we done all been to the wrong address a couple times, but we ain't settling in this season. We're not. What you mean? Child, we didn't got the, I don't know who, and look, no disrespect, but that Jezebel season is over. I just heard the Lord say that Jezebel season is over. Um, what you mean, like single, being single? Some of you gonna have to be single for a season, because the Lord say if you keep trying to jump from one person to the next person, you haven't stopped and given your time to do the healing that's necessary. Mm. So he gonna leave you. Some of y'all got a secret admirer. Ugh. Some of you have a secret admirer. Okay, let me just put that out there. The knowledge of the secrets of the kingdom of God has been given to you, but to others I speak in parables, so that those seeing they may not see, though hearing they may not understand. So some of you, this could be your person. I don't know, maybe somebody watching you, child. Just know this, that some eventually what's done in the dark, like eventually somebody gonna say something anyway. I ain't selling this season. We taking embryo steps, not baby steps. Anyway, just saying, you either gonna say something or you're not, and we gonna move on from that. Ain't nobody crazy. Anyway, somebody has a secret admirer. So just pay attention. I don't know if whoever that's for. I feel like you got some understanding in your spirituals, but what the Lord will reveal it when it's time. So don't rush it. You don't have to rush it. Okay. Next. Resources, okay, belongings, assets, income, wealth, money, destiny, helpers. Told y'all Revelation 3 and 7. To the angel of the church in Philadelphia, I just was looking at something about Philadelphia today. What's going on in Philadelphia? Anyway, these are the words of him who is holy and true, who holds the key of David. What he opens, no one can shut, and what he shuts, no one can open. So for many of you, there are more things that are being revealed to you. And yes, this is an increase in resources, y'all. That Romans 8 and 28 that is coming in. Like the Lord is going to make sure that you prosper. Some of you, maybe you have felt like, and he's showing me like maybe you feel like you should be further along than you are. Maybe you should have had more success than you do. But you're exactly where the Lord needs you to be. So just wait for it. Many of you are going to be blessed more than you can even comprehend right now, but you got to wait for it. You got to continue to build and grow. One thing we know, and we talk about this all the time, the Lord pays for what the Lord orders, right? Um, Blessings received and returned, dearest one. Um, the Lord pays for what the Lord orders. So many of you, this thing that you're building now, this thing that you're creating now, even if it's you, right? Even if it's you that's being rebuilt, you have to know that it's funded. It's this thing is being funded by God because you're actually allowing him to do the building. We already know that he's the foundation, but this time you're building it for the Lord. You're building it. And so therefore he's going to fund it. Whereas before, maybe you were trying to do something that was not it wasn't it's not that it wasn't of God, but it wasn't for God. And that's going to be the difference in whatever you're building in this season. This time is being built for God. So just know that relationships as well. This time the reason it's going to be a godly, because it's a godly contract. It's you not settling for anyone less than who God has destined you to have. This is why this contract, whoever this person is, many of you, like we talked about the other day, today is love day, by the way. Today is Venus day. So many of you, um, maybe that's why it's coming back up again today. Look at the ancestors and them. Y'all have meant it. So for some of you, there's getting ready to be what you mean, like a divine, like a some kind of way, some a path is going to cross. And I don't know how you're going to run across this person. You may already know them, you may not, but some kind of way, it's like your spirit names, your angels are aligning a path to cross, to connect. Um, I don't know. Maybe, which I mean, playing, child, listen, ain't nobody got time for that because we didn't, because they're talking about being in your playing season, and we're not even here for that. So for many of you, this next person, this next contract, it will be forever. But this is why you have to be willing to wait on it. But something is happening, some kind of way. Like the Lord is orchestrating. I don't know who this is for. The Lord is orchestrating a meeting, a connection, something. And this part doesn't necessarily have to just be about this person. This could be like the Lord just putting you in the right place at the right time. There's some person that's getting ready to enter into your life, and this is God sent. This is not, and you're going to know it because it's almost like there's going to be a connection with this person, and you're not going to be able to explain it. But there's something that this person who the Lord is sending into your life, there's something they're meant to do. Mm-mm. We know about soul contracts, but this is different. And I hope I'm explaining it right. But there's someone's getting ready. I'm telling you, someone's getting ready to enter into your life, and this person is going to be pivotal for your next step. Maybe this person, somebody, for some of you, I don't know, maybe they could introduce you to your person. There's some kind of divine connection. There's something. I don't know. He's not really allowing me to see all of it, but just know that there's a necessary connection because it's at the center of this. I normally don't put my cards this way, y'all, but the way that the Lord has set this up, there's some, and this, it doesn't feel like it's happened yet, but for some of you, this is a person that you're going to marry. For some of you, this could this is so, it's a contract and it's binding, and the Lord, he has not revealed it yet, but he's getting ready to. Mm. He's getting ready to show you. He's getting ready to reveal it because it's necessary. Many of you, you have, it's almost, it's not like passing a test, but it's almost like he's prepared you for it. So now this person is just, I don't know, I just keep getting, this person is pivotal for building with you, supposed to be building with you. And I don't know what you're building, only you know what you're building, but they just keep drawing me to like this contract in the angels. So some kind of way you're going to be maneuvered into meeting this person. Mm, I don't know. We'll see. There, and it's almost like a multiplication of resources as well. So I don't know. Mm, but you're gonna know it. For some of you, like your spirits gonna know each other. I don't know. It's a lot of, and I wasn't really leaning this towards relationship, but it is what it is. I gotta tell you what spirit love, right? But it's just, it's something about part of your blessing and part of your harvest and your abundance. Some is this person. Because my grandparents, like my grandma, my papa, like some, it's something about this person anyway, I bet. I don't know. So just pray about it. Ask the Lord about it. Go talk to God about it. See what the Lord say. Okay, because this is it's yeah, yeah. Mm, that's it. That's all I got. And yes, again, if this is a relationship, because right now the Lord is just showing me about a relationship. If this is a relationship, then God has to be the foundation of this relationship. So just know that. And for some of you, that's how you're going to know the difference. But don't think it. Don't be deceived, y'all. There can be a counterfeit before the kingdom. Right. So don't be deceived in thinking just because somebody come and act like they a man of God or a woman of God that they are. That is not necessarily the truth. Okay. Um, just don't be deceived. Take it to God. Let, and this the other thing, don't rush. Don't rush this. Like you don't have to rush it. I don't know. Yes, test the spirit for real. And you'll know, you either you'll know. Okay. I hope that made sense. I could go, so I really could go, there's so much. I could go so much deeper into this, but I think the Lord just wants the foundation of understanding. Like you get what you pray for. You get what you pray for. So I'm not gonna do it. We'll talk about it later. Okay. Anyway, so yes, this is also why the Lord, because some of you, let me just put it out here. Okay. This is why you got to close them portals. You got to close them doors. You ain't letting nobody sneak up through the back. Okay. You're not going back to, because some of you, there's a temptation back there. Close the door. Okay. You need to close the door. And maybe it's not a temptation on your side. Maybe it's just a temptation of knowing that that person, somebody else might think that they still have access or they still have a way in. And the Lord, the Lord is he's gonna give you a command, right? Because this is not the Lord just saying, you know, you should. This is like the Lord saying, I said, close that door. Because if you're still holding, it's almost like holding space. Um, and as you're doing your healing work, just understand that this is necessary. But if you're still holding space for someone, you don't want, first of all, you don't want to give somebody false hope. That's one thing. You don't want to give somebody false hope into thinking that there's any chance of them coming back, or that some relationships rekindle and reconcile. But for, if this is, this part of the message is for you, then you already know the Lord has said this is a no. It's like whatever this was back here, it's a no. Okay. Um, so I don't know. Now, for those of you, let me just throw this out here as well because it's here. For those of you who are not looking to be in a relationship right now, or looking for or praying for a significant other, the other part of this is about being married to the Lord. And he's not even wanting me to go into a lot of detail about this, but this is like being in contract married to the Lord. So some of you may be deciding to go that route at this time, so that you can really be in covenant and in contract with him. So pay attention to that. So that may be for you. Okay. I'm gonna take it slow, like look, easy like Sunday morning. Okay. Um, mm, there's so much I could say about this. Yes, married to God. Um, I think that's it. I think that's all I got. That was so interesting. I was not expecting this to go that way, but I never know what the Lord gonna talk about. But I hope this helps somebody. Um, that's interesting. We'll see what happens. Okay. And you don't have to share it either. Don't tell your business. Don't tell nobody what you got going on. But there's partnership coming in for somebody. What's next? What's next? Um, Y'all, we have class. We have Spirit U Extra Credit that is happening on Sunday. So make sure you tap in for that. We will be talking about Isaiah 58 because we're preparing for the first Spirit U class fast, which will be starting on the 6th. So have your Cinco de Mayo fun. Okay, have your Cinco de Mayo fun. We'll be starting the Spirit U class fast on the 6th, a 3-day water fast or 12-hour fast or 6A to 6P fast, whatever you are able to do. Um, so just make sure that you tune in for that. I will not be on TikTok, so make sure you catch me on the YT side of the street. Okay. Um, nobody needs to know our business, save ourselves. Yeah, some things you don't need to tell nobody. Like some things you just need to, and it's a learning, it's a learning experience. Some things that you just ain't supposed to told, right? Some stuff ain't people ain't supposed to know. But it's also just learning how to keep people out your business, child. Like everybody don't want to see you. Some people, it's unfortunate. I love love, so I'm not that person. Like I want to see people in love. I think it's beautiful. I love to see people out having the greatest relationships. It don't make me feel no type of way at all. Because I love love, and I think it's a beautiful thing to see and have as well. But some people, sometimes the Lord, but it's also knowing when you have healing to do, right? Because if you mad because you see somebody else celebrating their love, then that means that you're not healed. There's something within you that is harboring some kind of resentment, and you have to ask the Lord to heal that for you. Because and this is when you know that the Lord will send you into a season of just you and him and really experiencing his love. Because you got the, like, when you know his love, there's no other love that will make you jealous. I hope that makes sense. Like if you when you just know the way that the Lord loves you, then you'll want to see other people experiencing love as well. So if that's you, or you still, even if you still feel some type of way about your exes, um then you still need to do some healing, because you should be thanking them for what you went through with them, the experiences. And then once you've healed from that, then you'll be at a point where you're like, I'm so grateful for everything we went through. You know what I'm saying? You'll be able to thank them. And even in some cases, you may be cordial with them or cool with them. Because there's no love lost, for real, because it was an experience, it was a lesson, it was something we went through, but it's not necessarily something that we were meant to stay through forever, right? Good morning, Jared. Good morning. So just know that the Lord is for many of you, because maybe that's what you're praying for. You praying for your person to come in message, and that might be the next step, is just recognizing and understanding, what you need to heal within yourself. But just know this, somebody got a secret. You're my little secret. I don't know. Shout out Escape. That's what I just heard in my spirituals. Um, a secret admirer. Child, who has time for that? Quit playing. Anyway, that's all I got. Okay. Lord, I hope this helps somebody. Um, So that's what we got going coming up, y'all. We're gonna still be in Genesis 3 on Monday. So y'all be ready for that. We have our fast that's starting Tuesday. Get on the email list. Get on the email list, SpiritUniversiTEA@gmail.com, TEA. Get on the email list, okay? Because once I am gonna start, I'm probably gonna send one out just in preparation to start playing around with it. Um, we're healed, we're headed our differences. His new family has done plenty of family, which, wait a minute, I'm sorry, okay, say that again, Sandy. We've healed, we're headed our differences, his new family. um Child, listen, I'm grateful. Like I don't know, I really don't. I don't have any bad blood with any of my exes. Like I don't really talk to them. But there's no animosity, you know. So come on, 143 to perceive ascension, understand and love. I'm not finna keep playing with y'all or spirit them not. John 14:3. And if I go, I will prepare a place for you. I will come. 143 means to perceive. Child, I'm not finna play with y'all. Not today. Okay. Not today. Or tomorrow. Well, maybe tomorrow. Maybe Monday. I'm off tomorrow. Tomorrow's the Sabbath for me. I will be in Bible study all day. Just saying. When we're just talking about love, I'm not even gonna put it back. I didn't put it up. I'm not finna. I'm not. Because the Lord said what He said, right? Um. But yeah, look, after Wednesday's message, I had a complete moment of peace and understanding. And in my head, I started to think of everything I learned in my relationship. Well, child, watch this message from the beginning, baby, because the Lord clearly, he has some love on, he got love on his mind. Okay. He has love on his mind. Because many of you have been in a place of just waiting or receiving that, right, or understanding that it is something. Because some of y'all, maybe you've been lying to yourself. Let me just say it, message, maybe some of y'all been lying to yourself, and we don't keep it a buckles over here, y'all know how we do, right? um I will say this. Osiris said, I vibe with you too much, Touche. I got to check myself for idolizing myself through others. Child, listen, that's all right. Well, you'll have to work on that. Okay. You'll definitely have to work on that. But what I was going to say is, um, some of you, I think that's the last thing I'm going to say, but if it resonates in your spirituals, then it's for you. Some of you, the problem is you trying to lie and tell God that you don't want partnership. And so you may even be, wait a minute, hold on. Hold on, what? I'll accept it if it's me. First of all, y'all ain't even got to put what, first of all, why y'all even trying to put my business out there? Because I'm going to tell daddy. You know, I'm back. Listen. So some of you trying to lie and say, and you can't lie to God. You trying to tell him you don't want a partner, you don't want this, and you don't want that, and you lying to yourself and to him too. That's why he gonna keep telling. He gonna tell you lying, because you lying, because you do want it. But you just, but again, you trying to force yourself or convince yourself that you don't, but you do. Everybody wants companionship. You seen that. You seen that, didn't it, Jared? Try to. Anyway, so you be acting like you don't want companionship or partnership, but you do. And the Lord said, you ain't finna lie to me. He said, you can't. So just saying, look, Tiff said, my heart does, but my head doesn't. I am a Leo, and I didn't already told I love love. So I can't lie, right? I can't lie to the Lord. He knows. Now, I will say this. I like me personally, right? And this we done with the message, but of course, just talking, right? But I have also told the Lord, like, make me ready for it. Like, I want to be ready for it, right? So, message, it's not like I don't want it. I just want to be ready for it. And so that's what I have started praying. So he know, first of all, y'all just y'all is talking so much right now. I'm finna turn y'all off. Um Sips adult beverage. Y'all go find y'all some business. Cause y'all in mine. That's what you're doing. You in mine. I'ma tell the people them the truth. What I'ma lie for? I don't lie. Anyway, said it, meant it. Okay. I'm a Leo and I love love. And so, it's about understanding. Like, be honest about what you want. Okay. Don't tell no stories. And also, we're not desperate for it either. Okay. And let me now see, Lord, Daddy, why you on their side, Daddy? Why you on the I'ma tell y'all why I said that. Why you choosing them today? Don't choose them today. Cause you want back. Listen. Cherie says I feel readier. I just need more time to date, relate, and invest. Not date, relate, and investigate. Oh man. Y'all, this is so funny that this card just showed up. Look, and then separately, solitary, desolate, the wilderness. Child, that's the heart. Well, no, she not. She not. Y'all doing too much. No, she not. just cause she ain't not in order. She in order. You know, I'm back. I said what I said. The reason I'm tripping, y'all ain't have to do that. So y'all showing out. It's Friday. So y'all know y'all finna go inside because y'all know y'all not finna be back outside on Sunday because that's gonna be the Lord's day. And y'all trying to show out just because you got a little bit of time on your hands. I'm telling Daddy. Just surrender 356. This morning when I was actually coming, when I was driving, I saw the number 111, and then I saw it again, and then and the Lord literally saw it right in front of that. After that, it was a license plate that said, first I saw 413, then I was like, okay, Lord, and then that showed up on my phone. Then at the end of there was a car in front of me, and the license plate literally said 356. Okay, this is that after party. We didn't put the Lord up. I mean, we don't never put you up, Lord, but you know, Spirit never show out. They start showing out when they know the Lord and got his message across. And since we talking about partnership, listen, if you knew to Spirit you, this we so happy, so grateful that you are here. Just saying, where did the number 144 come up for me? No, it wasn't me. Actually, Tiff, it wasn't me. Good morning, Jamila. Good morning. Um, it wasn't 144 for me, but 144 was the number. That was the number that Shador Sanders was drafted. That was the only time that came up for me. So showing out for God with this one. He done went to the other side of the earth. He was like, oh, they foolish now, so we gonna go on. We finna move on because he's like they finna get foolish. He give us one good day. One good day he gives us to get our life, to get out of, oh, we're not gonna do bad. Go tell him we ain't gonna do bad. I'm not gonna let y'all not finna get me in trouble. They be getting me in trouble, right? But anyway, I did see this 356 and I made a note of it. And so the fact that it's showing up is yes. And we know we're going to trust in the Lord with all our heart and lean not on our own understanding. In all our ways, submit to him and he will make our path straight. This is surrender faith one step at a time in proportion. So we receive it. We receive it. We're not going to show out. I'm not going to show out too bad. We're going to have to wait till I decide to do a nighttime show for that. Y'all remember when I used to do a nighttime show and we called it the after party? When did I do that? That was a long time ago, wasn't it? It's like, look, Jared say God be sitting there laughing at us. He be like, look at it, child, look, because he know we foolish. He know it. He know we foolish. Is he know. And let me tell you. So look, so yesterday I had this conversation with the Lord, right? Because I was just like, man, I was like, Daddy, I just am who I am. And y'all know I be laughing and joking and playing around and just really good natured, right? And let me say this, speaking of peace, right? Speaking of peace. Y'all, I have had so much peace this week that it's gonna be hard to go back into chaos next week because I have been at peace this week. I really have. And so I was even talking to the Lord. I was just like, man, you go in certain places and spaces and you don't feel as comfortable when you're not around, when you're around certain people, you don't feel as comfortable. And I was just talking to the Lord about that. And I was just like, Daddy, I am who I am. Like, I don't try to pretend to be who I'm not, but everybody also don't get this side of me. You know what I'm saying? Like, you have to know who to be and where to be, because in like in certain places I'm not, it's like being around people that you don't necessarily relate to or relate with. And I can't be like, I love this, why I love coming up here. I'm just like, man, this is the greatest part of my day. And so I was telling the Lord that yesterday. I was just like, man, look, it's gonna be, and that's why we mentioned that it's gonna be some folks that gonna have something to say. They're not gonna like you. They gonna, oh, she can't be a Christian. Well, what if? I'm not mad. And I said, and I literally was like, Daddy, we good. He say we good, then we good. And that's it. Like, I don't, it's, listen, what, oh my God, how is she talking like that? Because I can, because the Lord ain't mad at me about that. And so we had, people don't like the word authenticity and it's overused or whatever. But no, it is what it is. Like, I am who I am. And I say this all the time. And I pray that everybody would feel like this, like, be who you are, because it's going to be more well received if and when because I know when I'm pretending to be something that I'm not, or not even pretending to be something that I'm not, but I'm just not allowing myself to be who I am. And I'm just not in that season of life anymore, y'all. I'm in a season where like this is me, take it or leave it. This is me just as I am. Everybody ain't gonna like it. I'm okay with that. I'm not mad. Like, message, right? Like it, and you just have to get to a point where you just like, man, I can't be worried about what people are going to say, what they're going to think. You have to be who you are, because people are going to either like you or not, and even if you don't give them nothing to dislike, they'll find it. I am who I am, like, and I once you come to that level of understanding, you just be like, oh, okay. Oh, okay, and just keep it moving. So, anyway, when you're meeting people as well, you don't immediately, and I think that this is something that I've done in the past. This is something I've done in the past where you give someone too much, and I'm not gonna say it because I feel like that's telling too much of my business, and I ain't gonna say all of it. But let me just say this: just know that you can just give yourself in moderation. Let me just say that. Give yourself in moderation, because sometimes, especially because what we ain't is thirsty, okay, because ain't nobody thirsty, not for attention, for relationships, and show ain't thirsty for that, baby, but when he get it, oh, when he get it. Anyway, I'm back. uh just saying. hmm. Anyway, said what I said. Okay, I said what I said. Oh, the Lord is so funny. He got big jokes, don't it? Does he got big jokes? And so, moderation nation. You know what, Lord? You got jokes today. It's okay. hmm hmm Look, the living water, okay? The living water. Somebody might have to go. We gonna have to. I'm gonna pray. I'm pray when I get done, child. That's it. That's the only thing we thirsty for in this season, baby. Cause what? Cause who ain't? Just saying. The living well of God be living well for sure. Indeed and amen. Like that is a true story. That you know what, Lord, I'm finna go. Now look, now that's it. Let me put the cards down because daddy, I'm not finna play with you no more today. He said what he said now. So 26. I'm putting it down, Lord. I didn't wash my hands of the cards today. That's it. That's all I got. I'm gonna put that. I don't even want to look. I'm just gonna put you in the middle of the deck somewhere. I'm gonna shuffle you and put you up. And I don't even want to look at the cards. Let me drink my favorite adult beverage. He plays so much. Oh Lord, we got to talk. Daddy, can we talk? Can we wrap a taste? Anyway, the whole deck. Child, because he said what he said. Anyway, that's all I got. I'm not playing with the Lord today. We finna to I got a lot for y'all. I got a lot for you. You just hold on. We gonna talk about it. No, I'm not finna. I'm not even finna put them. I'm not finna involve them in this. Y'all play so much. Oh, y'all play. Oh, oh. Mm, mm. This one of them spirit and them conversations. Anyway, that's all I got. Lord, I hope this helps somebody. Oh, you. Oh, child, y'all about gonna get these cuss words today. Daddy, I done built them up all week. I ain't said no cuss words all the week. I held them. So if I get 3 a day, then that means that I got 15. But for this, wait a minute, hold on. Hold on, let me make sure. Okay, I might have said that. First of all, how y'all trying to keep up with my cuss word quota? Because y'all know y'all finna get you finna, yeah, yeah. hmm I think maybe 12. I might have used 3. Um 222. Does anyone know what 222 mean? 222 has definitely for me, it's been taking me, child. It is. 222 has been taking me to the book of Daniel. Let me just throw that out there real quick, Lynn. For me, 222. I just did a message on it the other day. Hold on, let me look in my notes and I might be able to told you, dear swan, what the Lord sent me to. but it's about the Lord revealing things. Okay, he's in a revelational kind of season. He is revealing things. So the other day, he actually sent me to the book of Daniel, and I had to go. Let me see if I can find it. I had to go and study the first part of Daniel 2. Him revealing secrets. Side note, the top secret card. Him revealing secrets, revealing things that need to be seen, revealing things to you that you hadn't known before. So it's also for me a number about being in the right place at the right time. But when I was getting the number 222, at first it was 1222, but then he sent me to 222, and it was I ended up reading Daniel 2. Okay, so that may be helpful for you. Oh, here it is. You know what? This was on the 26th of April. So on 4/26, was when I had to read Daniel 2. And he was talking to it's like secret things, talking about secret things belong to the Lord our God. He was also talking about prayer on this day as well. Um, so yeah, as a suggestion, maybe a starting point, you can go, you can go read Daniel 2 and see what he would like to reveal to you as a result of that. Um, the secret was revealed to Daniel in a night vision. So maybe that's a good starting place for you. So definitely go and read Daniel 2. Okay. That's what I read on 4/26. Thank you, Lord. We were the revealer of secrets. He is the revealer of secrets. Okay. Um, That's it, y'all. That's all I got. Lord, I hope this helps somebody. Y'all, hydrate your soul in things, drink your water, say your gratitude. The angel number 222 generally symbolizes balance, harmony, and trust in the universe. It encourages optimism, faith in your intuition, and the belief. And I have a 222 card, but and the belief that everything is unfolding as it should. So whatever you feel so inclined to go and look at, I'm typically the numbers will always send me back to scripture, but as a starting point, there you go. Right. Um, Lord, I hope this helps somebody. Go be great and amazing. Do great and amazing things. Thank y'all so much for the likes, the shares, the comments, the subscribes, the love, the energy. Thank y'all for the laughs. Thank y'all for the jokes, right? Um, this was a great message, a great day. I'm so grateful for y'all. Make sure you get on the email list, SpiritUniversiTEA@gmail.com. Make sure you do that. I will see y'all on Sunday, 12 p.m. Pacific Standard Time for Spirit U Extra Credit. We will be studying and going over Isaiah 58. So make sure y'all do that. Go be great and amazing. Do something great and amazing. And I will see y'all on Sunday. Deuces. I love y'all in real life. Bye, y'all. Love y'all. Thank y'all so much. Love y'all. Bye, y'all. Child, ain't nobody finna play. Oh, they finna get the what? The business. I love